Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of the Taj Factor. Today, we are going to do another version of the video that's like my first video, my first real video, and it is my lessons from 2021 and my 2022 intentions. So, let's get into it. Number one, the very nature of life is impermanence. So I've gone through some relationships this year with guys who I thought were like forever guys, you know, but I've learned that nothing really is forever. And even with life in general, like letting go of my job and letting go of certain opportunities that I thought for me but turned out not to be for me, like everything is always shifting, changing, including myself and the things that I want and the areas for growth. So that just taught me, don't hold on too tight to anything, to any dream, any goal, definitely not to any human or any situation, because nothing is guaranteed and nothing truly belongs to us. Every single thing in this life is borrowed. Every single thing, every space we hold, every interaction, every relationship is all borrowed. So I just have learned that. I'm glad that I learned that, because looking at life from that perspective is so much more freeing. Like, it takes so much pressure off of me having expectations for people and for situations, and just saying, okay, this is where we are. I'm going to enjoy this space while I have it. And then when I don't have it anymore, I know that something better is on the way. So I'm okay with letting it go and just letting this be something that I'm just moving through on this journey, right? Number two, I learned the power of believing in yourself. So that may sound very cliche. However, it's real. Like, I've learned that truly we are extremely powerful beings. Like, as humans, we are extremely powerful. And when we are in alignment, body, mind, spirit, like I talk about in my goal setting and accomplishment video, when you are in alignment that way, you are truly a powerhouse. And literally there is nothing you cannot accomplish if you truly have the desire and you're willing to put the work behind it consistently. So I have learned, really, I've always known I was powerful, but this year really showed me how powerful I am when I really have my intentions set and when I execute intentionally on a consistent basis. So going into 2022, that is something so exciting for me, because there are so many things that I want to do, so much more I want to bring to y'all, so much more I'm going to bring to y'all, and so much more I just want to bring into my experience this lifetime. So power to the people, baby. Number three, this year taught me that the true purpose of life is to simply exist. Right? We get so caught up in, oh, my purpose is to do this, or I'm put here to do this. And it's like, okay, you may have come here with some gifts that were God-given to help you exist more harmoniously on this plane. However, if there's any real purpose, I would say it's just to enjoy the human experience. And different things can bring you joy in that experience, like executing certain goals or like expressing certain aspects of you or certain gifts that you have, and those seem to make life more purposeful. However, I want us to stop putting so much pressure on ourselves because we feel like we're not walking in our purpose, because what even is that? Like, that's some shit that somebody made up because they felt like they found their purpose and misunderstood that to mean that without that and without being in whatever space that was, that they were not living a purposeful life. And I don't want us to feel that pressure anymore. I want us to wake up and feel like, okay, my purpose is to simply feel good, to take my lessons to the chin, and to continue rolling and making this a pleasurable experience for me as much as I can. So that, again, takes the pressure off of you, because now the gag is the shit's going to flow so much more easily for you, because you're not pressing so hard up against your dreams, up against your vision, right? Now you just have this kind of, I won't say laissez-faire, but very, very confident, powerful, relaxed energy surrounding your goals versus this very scared, this very pressurized space that you're trying to work under in order to get something accomplished. You feel me? I know you feel me. So, in my opinion, we're just put here to live, and we just need to do more of that, and we need to do it well, okay? Number 4, I learned why we need to trust ourselves and act right when we're inspired, even if we are still afraid. So trusting yourself has a lot to do with loving yourself, respecting yourself, and knowing that you are capable of what you're capable of, and truly knowing yourself. So that, to me, is immeasurable, because when you can trust yourself, you know that you can walk into any situation, and no matter what happens, no matter what you're exposed to, no matter what you're forced to face, you know that you're going to come out not even just on the other side of it, but even better than you were when you first entered the situation. And also trusting ourselves is showing God that we trust in His power as well. Because if you're receiving guidance and you're getting downloads and you're getting instruction, whether it be through intuition, through your dreams, through other people, through certain numbers or whatever you see, and you're not following that guidance, that is showing God that you do not trust. That's showing the universe that you truly are not in alignment with it. And you will slowly but surely stop seeing those signs, because the universe or God or whatever you want to call it, it's like, okay, you're not listening and you're not trusting me. You have no faith. So I'm going to sit over here and I'm going to let you figure it out. And then when you're ready to receive, I'm always going to be here. And that's the thing. We're never alone or forgotten. I don't know if I wrote that one down, but that's a major lesson I learned this year. Like, you're never forgotten. There's always a higher power watching you, looking after you, making sure the shit's going to be okay. But again, you just got to trust in that guidance. And when you get the idea, execute on it immediately. Trust me, y'all. Like, there are so many ideas that have come to people, and then somebody else executed on it, made billions of dollars off of it, and the person is sitting on the TV watching like, damn, that could have been me. Yeah, but you passed on that blessing when you decided not to execute on time. You feel me? So that's one thing I want to do better at, and that's one thing that I have learned to do is, even if you do not feel like it, use your discipline to dig deep and to execute, because that is a God-given gift just for you. Number 5 is you can have more than one soulmate. Argue with your mama, okay? You can have more than one soulmate, and I know that for sure because I have met at least 2 of them this year. And they don't always have to be in a way that is romantic. They can be friendship, they can be in animals, but I've met 2 romantic soulmates, and I am so grateful for those men because they truly showed me what love is supposed to feel like. They showed me what I really want and what I deserve to have in a relationship dynamic, because it was just phenomenal, literally like a dream. And if either of you are watching this, I just want to say thank you and I love you, and I will never forget any of our experiences, and I'm just so grateful. I'm just so grateful because y'all set the bar high, and yeah, thank you. Number 6, this year I learned the power of breath work. So I've always been aware of the fact that there's power in breathing deeply when you do yoga, when you exercise, etc. But one thing I've started doing now is cold exposure. So at the end of my showers in the morning, I'll turn on just purely cold water, and then I'll spin around 3 times. And while I'm spinning around, I'm very intentional about going slowly, although it's extremely uncomfortable and I really don't like to do it. I do it because it's another way to stretch and challenge my mind and strengthen myself. So while I'm doing it, I just focus on my breath. It takes me totally here to where it's so cold and so uncomfortable, but I can't focus on anything else other than breathing. So breathing is one way to bring yourself into the present moment. When you start to feel yourself too caught up in here, when you start to feel your chest pounding, or you feel like you're on the brink of an anxiety attack, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Do it on a 4 count. In 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4. And I promise you, if you do that like 4 or 5 times, your whole nervous system is going to calm down completely. You're going to be able to be more level-headed, and you're going to be able to move forward more intentional and in a better way than you would be able to if you stayed in that worked up energy. Number 7, I learned to be patient with the darkness because it holds nutrients. So something you may or may not have heard before is like the plant analogy. So whenever you take a seed and you put it into the soil, the seed has to be completely covered in darkness, and then that's the only way it can spring root. because if that seed is exposed to the sun too early, it will fry and it will die. Seriously. So that's the metaphor to me, like the lotus. Like, you can't get that beautiful flowering on top of the water if the lotus does not go and trudge through that mud. So this year I dealt with a lot. And I was depressed for several months in the second half of the year. And that darkness, it really cultivated some shit within me, some strength, some power, some let's just fucking do it that I did not have before. And so I told myself I didn't know exactly what threw me into it until I was coming out of it, but I knew that I had to sit in it. And I knew that I couldn't numb it. I couldn't shut it out. I couldn't run from it. I just had to sit in it. So I stayed in my room for months and months, y'all, just going through it completely by myself, because I said, there's something that needs to come about as a result of this. And the only way I get to experience that is if I just sit in it. And I honestly didn't have strength to do anything else until one day my body said, enough is enough. Let's get up. Let's go to the gym. And then I've been good ever since. And definitely realized why I went into the depression in the first place. But I learned not to take that darkness for granted, to honor it, because it is part of who I am. And it also holds so much nutrients and lessons and wisdom if we are strong enough to let ourselves sit and kind of just let it move through us. And then when we can, move forward with what we've gained from it. Number 8, I learned how to act when afraid. So there are some things I did this year that I was not ready for. I didn't think I was ready, but I learned that, for one, if you're afraid to do something and you know you should do it, accept that this is a moment where you got to step up, and this is where courage is needed. Just like I talked about in this last video I did like this a year ago now. The first thing you can do is prepare. So to help get out some nerves, prepare. And then the what ifs. Look at the worst case scenario. I forgot her name, God bless her, but she gave me this gem. I was listening to her interview, and she said whenever she's like freaking out about something, she always goes through, okay, what are all the worst case scenarios that could possibly happen, so that once you expose your mind to that and then you think all the way through it and you see, oh, it's not going to turn out that bad. Even if this does happen, you can kind of chill out a little bit and stop psyching yourself out. That is something very powerful that I learned. It's like, we're humans who want to be comfortable, but there's no growth in comfort. And so when you step outside your comfort zone, it's scary, but that's why courage is a word. And that's why we have to choose to step, prepare, go through the worst case scenarios, be courageous, act on faith, and just hope for the best and do the best we can with whatever comes at us. Number 9, I finally accepted that we are only responsible for ourselves. People have been telling me this for years, because I've always been the little mama bear. Like, I'm the youngest of 3 children, but I've always been a little big sister, and I've always felt like for some reason it was on me to make sure that everybody was good. Regardless of what I'm going through, regardless of what I want to do, regardless. It's my job to make everybody else a priority before me. Long story short, is basically where I was at with it. And when I was coming out of my depression this year, I was in the shower and I just had this epiphany, and I told myself, I said, okay, let's really look at this, right? You're 26 years old and you feel guilty because you can't financially provide for your entire family, or because you can't do X, Y, and Z. How ridiculous and how unfair and how unrealistic is that expectation for you to be putting that on yourself? And then this is why you feel like shit. You know, one of the reasons anyway. So we are only responsible for ourselves, baby. You get this one life in this body anyway. You need to live for you. And you may feel some guilt, but in the end, I never regret choosing me. I never regret it. And I'm so grateful that walking into 2022, I learned this lesson, because I feel like life is really about to throw me in a lot of directions. And the only way that I can take advantage of these opportunities is if I'm choosing me first, and just trusting and praying that everybody else is going to be okay, but I got to be good. Because if I'm not good, how can I help anybody else? And if I'm not happy, how can I bring anybody else joy? Number 10, so with honoring the darkness that is depression, I've also learned this thing, I call it pushback. And to me, pushing back means not letting it completely overcome you. And this isn't always possible, but in the moments that it is possible, you do things to push back, like diet. You eat the right things, you eat your colors, make sure you're eating your phytonutrients, basically the nutrients you get from plants, making sure that you're getting enough protein, making sure that you're hydrating, making sure that you're getting enough sunlight. Hello, vitamin D. It helps stabilize your mood, making sure that you're moving your body, even if you're not doing a hardcore, high-intensity interval training workout. You are moving your body in some way that gets the energy moving, because I'm sure you know about chakras if you're watching my channel. There are energy points throughout our body, and when you move, the energy moves through you. You cannot keep that energy stagnant because energy wants to flow. So you got to let that energy flow. And then making sure that you're doing something to help you decompress. So for me, it's a combination of exercise, journaling, singing, getting outside, playing with my animals, making sure that you're tapping into something that can help you just let go. For me, when I'm angry, weightlifting or running helps tremendously. And then the last way to push back against depression that I have found to be helpful is interacting with people you care about. So again, this isn't always possible, but when you feel like you have that burst of energy, go ahead and reach for the light and have somebody around you come see you or FaceTime you or just spend some time with them. And that just reminds you that there's a whole big old world outside of ourselves and our problems. And it just lets you kind of disconnect from what's going on with you and just be in a space of love. So that's how I push back against depression. And that's a formula that I'm going to use for the rest of my life, and that I want you to use too if you're someone who also struggles with depression, anxiety, etc. Because it really helps. And y'all, I just want to say to anybody who is dealing with it, please stick around. Please stick around until it gets better. Please stick around long enough to see it get better. Like, I heard that when I was coming out of my depression, y'all, and I'm about to tear up now. I just about cried because I'm just like, that is deep. Like, if you've ever been there, you know where I'm talking about. That's deep. So please stick around. Please stick around. It gets better. So number 11, and the final lesson I will be sharing is, it's okay to fail and have to regroup. There were some things earlier in the year that did not work out at all how I expected. I was very disappointed, but I realized that when things don't work out, it's divine intervention. And sometimes it's protection, and it's always redirection to something better suited for you. So we always have our plans, right? But the higher power sees all, knows what's working, knows who needs what, when, where, and how. And that's why our plans don't always work out, but always there's something greater. So again, have trust, have faith, and know that you can have your plans and you can intentionally work toward them, but be flexible and be fluid, because you never know what God has in store for you. And throughout the failure, you gain so much wisdom. You just take those experiences and you move forward with what you've learned. Take all the lessons that you learned, take none of the regret. Because even if you try something and you failed at it, at least you can say, well, I tried. Most people don't even try. You know what I'm saying? So give yourself that grace and that little pat on the booty for even going out and being brave enough to try. And so moving into 2022, I am going to share 4 intentions that I have. And I do want to reflect and say that the intentions that I shared from last year about this year, I actually did follow through with them. And I'm so grateful because I didn't even look at them throughout the year. Like, I watched that video a couple times, but I didn't really, like, I wasn't set on achieving the intentions. They just kind of happened the way that life unfolded for me. So anyway, hopefully we get a repeat of that. And so here are my 4 intentions for 2022. 1, I definitely want to travel more. Y'all know I love to travel, and I want to bring y'all more travel vlogs. I just want to have more diverse experiences with travel and be the little nomad that I am. Number 2, I want to tap more into creative expression. So continue to get deeper into my content creation, my dancing, my singing, maybe learn how to paint for once in my life, but really tap into the creative side of me, because I have very much been an intellectual my whole life and tapped into that structurized way of thinking and expressing. And I want to get more into the other side of that and just kind of express things and let them come through me. Number 3, I want to improve my knowledge of finance and all things economics. So learn about trading, different securities. I want to learn how to better budget my money, which I already do a pretty good job at it, but there's always room for improvement. And putting together plans for retirement for myself and my family. And yeah, just getting the big bags, baby. That's what I'm going for. And number 4, I want to learn to act on my guidance without any worry or doubt. And I know that's part of being human, but I know that's something that I just personally want to work through. So that's what I'm going to be working on in 2022. I hope that y'all have a lovely, lovely new year. And I hope that 2022 will be everything that you need it to be, that you want it to be, and that you didn't even know you needed, right? Like, I feel like so many people learned a lot of lessons and went through a lot of unexpected pain this year. Now we're prepared to receive the blessings that we truly deserve and that have been waiting to come to us. So I am sharing all those good vibes and blessings with you, my love. Thank you so much for coming back. Tell a friend, like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned. Love you. Peace.